You know, I Steppin with Marcus J. Thank you so much for staying with us. A little bit of Donnie Hathaway in there. Shout out to you, man. K-Dub, I know that's your dude. And you know, Steppin Marcus J is live from the den, LegacyInternetRadio.com. We appreciate the love that we're getting, the people that's listening to us on our home website, LegacyInternetRadio.com, as well as on the MixLR. We appreciate that. Thank you so much for staying with us and supporting us as we do our show every single Monday night from 7 p.m. until usually sometime around 9 p.m. As we do every single week at this time, we profile a missing and or exploited child. This week we've got Rashira Monique Carolyn Herring. She has been missing since April 2nd, 2012. She's a black female. She's 16 years old. She's missing from Baltimore, Maryland. She's got medium complexion, stands 5'8", 130 pounds, with black shoulder-length hair that are brown. She doesn't wear any glasses or contacts or anything. She was last seen at 2426 Callow Avenue, Apartment B in Baltimore, which is near Callow and Whitlock. The circumstances of her disappearance is that she was walking from her aunt's home. She told a cousin she was going to do a best friend's hair and see another cousin. She told another cousin she was going to see someone by the name of Smoke and then do her friend's hair. It is unknown if she ever made it to see Smoke, but she definitely never made it to do her friend's hair. She was wearing long sleeve white shirt with Aeropostale written down one side, blue camisole, blue jeans, black sequin on her pockets, and white tennis shoes. And she's got a burn scar on her right lower leg. If anybody has seen Rashira Monique Carolyn Herring, please contact the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children on their website, missingkids.com, or contact them at 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-843-5678. Please bring Rashira Monique Carolyn Herring home. Tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of her disappearance, and I think it would be a fabulous gift for her to make it home on the 1-year anniversary. Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J is being sponsored by the Doctor of Optometry, Dr. Euphemia Huggins Williams, ODPC. She is the person that I go to get my eyes checked, make sure that my eyes stay healthy. No cataracts, no glaucoma, none of those kinds of things. And if I had any, she would be sure to find it. She can be contacted in her office at 7124 Forest Hill Avenue, Suite B, Richmond, Virginia. Contact her by phone at 804-327-1640. Doctor of Optometry, Euphemia Huggins Williams. Lastly, spring introduction party that's being sponsored by King Solomon number 27 Lodge here in Richmond, Virginia, having the spring introduction party this Saturday coming up on the 6th from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. at 2523 Chamberlain Avenue. It's a BYOB affair, $15 tickets, but they'll have plenty of food and music, fellowship, and definitely be a lot of fun to join us at that party, to be one, ask one. So if you're looking for tickets, please contact me on the Facebook page, send me an inbox. If you know me personally, send me a text or email, and I'll make sure that the tickets are made available to you. Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. Definitely excited to move on to our segment that we like to call What the Hell, y'all? What the hell? Every time I go and I do some research for these What the Hell segments, I always get a kick out of it because I always come across some stuff that will make me really, really say what the hell. So I'm going to come to Jay Grizzy on this one first. Chris Rock has made news recently by coming out and saying that college sports is for blacks no different than slavery. And some of the comments, and I won't read them all. But one of the things that he said, and this is a direct quote: "So I'm watching Kansas North Carolina game on TV, and I noticed there are 9 black players and 1 white player. By the way, the white player is amazing. Anyway, I look in the stands and everyone is white. Since it is known that college sports is big money, one could come to the conclusion that the 9 black and 1 white player are playing to put 100,000 white kids through college. I know no one is getting whipped or beaten, but economically, college sports are no different than slavery. I know a lot of black intellectuals will say we can do so much more than play ball, and we can, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't reap the benefits from the sports. He goes on to say more, but I think we kind of got it set up quite enough. So I'll come to you on this one first, Grizz. Do you believe or do you agree with Chris Rock's assessment that college sports for blacks is no different than slavery?
Well, when I first heard you read it out, the byline or the headline of it, I was like, wow, okay, Chris Rock putting it out there. But then as you read the explanation, I mean, he's got a point. College athletes, for the most part, are not going to college for education. They're going to be seen by the professional league, whether it's Europe, whether it's here in the U.S., whether it's in the Philippines where a former Knick player choked somebody out. They're trying to get paid. So they're trying to come up on their own American dream, just like anybody else. So if you're doing that and you're not getting paid and you're generating revenue for the college, you look at, I didn't even know it was in Texas Stadium, the NCAA, and the Texas Stadium hold 100,000. Am I correct with that? So where's all this money going? I mean, the Fab Five had a 30 for 30 situation where on ESPN, the four-letter network, like y'all say, and they even Jalen Rose was like, we generated a lot of money for the university. And nobody, they wanted to shy us away from taking money from a supporter, So when I look at it and analyze it after you read the explanation, he's got a point. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as say slavery, but he did explain himself. Nobody's being whipped and chained. But, I think college athletes need to get paid. We discussed this before on the previous show, and it's just not right, not fair.
I think you're reaching. Why not just say college players need to be paid? Why you got to take it to slavery? Why? To me, everything doesn't have to be about slavery. Yes, it was bad. Yes, it was terrible. Okay, but as far as college sports goes, should they be paid? Absolutely. They're generating lots of revenue for these teams in these colleges. However, they're also getting exposure. Slaves weren't getting nothing. They was getting scraps. They weren't getting exposure to show off, how much cotton they could pick. These guys are getting exposure. They getting, people going out and buying buying jerseys. They getting exposure for overseas teams and the NBA. Big Rube, what's up, man?
Chris Rock is out of his damn mind. I mean, first of all, they do get paid in some sense. One, two. Because last time I checked, they don't got to pay to go to school. They don't have to pay for 3 meals a day. They don't have to pay for room and board. So last time I checked, and then they do get a little stipend, every month. And when they go traveling, they get money. So for I'm concerned, I'm sick of the argument that college athletes don't get paid. It's so annoying. If college athletes want to get paid, go pro. Oh, wait a minute. You guys sit out a year. Go overseas. Brandon Jennings did it. Yeah, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing about it because, working for anybody, let's be honest, I used to, Wednesday I won't be working for this company, but they work billions of dollars every year, and I get, wherever I get. Really? Nah. I'm sick of hearing it.
The analogy he used is slavery, which is completely wrong. He should have used the analogy indentured servant. That's what these guys are. Yes. Do you know what an indentured servant is? You obviously looking at me wrong, Ruben. Ruben over here. We need to drug test Ruben after the show. Basically, you get paid to do something up front. You got your whole education paid for. I've had the same argument before, but now I started to see some of the things that other people are saying. Yes, you got the room and board. Yes, you got a free education. Yes, you're getting this and that. Basically, you're an indentured servant. He shouldn't have called him a slave. Now, whether black or white, we're not in. Black people aren't into baseball, like talking about it. They're not into volleyball. They're not into swimming. Track and field is probably about split somewhere down the middle. I don't know. There are other sports that black people don't take a part of that he's missing and labeling it slavery. That's wrong. How many black people you know are playing lacrosse? I mean, granted, there are probably about 2 or 3 of us out there, but still, he really labeled it completely wrong. Any college athlete who is on scholarship is an indentured servant. Don't call them slaves.
Here's my thing on this one. I understand where Chris is coming from, but I do agree that his rhetoric is out of line here.
But he's basing it off of blacks. What about the white
sports? Can I finish my point?
Okay, well, I mean, you're saying that you agree with him,
But
there are other
that doesn't
sports
mean that you get to cut me off before I finish my point.
Hold on. Let's just take into what I can say. How many black people are playing lacrosse? How many black people are playing lacrosse? How many are swimming?
You didn't let me finish my point. So how you gonna break down? How you gonna break down my point before you let me make
because
it?
he's saying that every sport out there is black.
All right.
Cut my mic off.
Yeah, I'm about to cut your mic off because when we get to this segment, to the what the hell segment, it's my segment. So I am the one that's going to lead discussion. I'm not going to get cut off from my segment again. Let me just say that. 1. 2, I agree somewhat with the spirit of what he's saying, but I agree with you, Carlton Banks, because the indentured servant analogy that you made, I agree, is more accurate. I don't think that using incendiary rhetoric like slavery is going to be productive here. Now, I think where he also loses me is when he specifically points out black athletes, because we know that the black athlete is the dominant athlete, but they're not the only athlete. And every single athlete who is playing in college sports, regardless of which sport they're playing, they're bringing in revenue somehow to the university. Now, my deal has always been how ludicrous the NCAA's rules are, that I can't sell a T-shirt without getting in trouble, but you as a coach could come to my house, sit on my couch, tell me you're going to be the coach, knowing that you got an offer on the table from another school, and you may not even be there as long as it takes for me to pack my stuff and get there. So my issue is not so much with what he is saying about, black athletes and slavery and all of that kind of stuff. My issue is the fact that there seems to be no protection at all for the college athlete, not necessarily the black college athlete, but the college athlete himself. Because I see you waving. Y'all gonna let me finish they're not gonna let me talk, y'all.
That's what the host got to go through. That's what the host got to go through.
I ain't say nothing. I'm letting you talk.
They're waving at me.
I'm not waving at you. Finish your conversation.
Whatever, man. Grizzy, go ahead. Jump in, man.
Hey, no, with all respect due to the host. Look, he's speaking from a black man's perspective. That's what Chris Rock is. So honestly, if you put it in perspective, a Rockefeller child pretty much has free education, doesn't he or she? They're not. To put a Rockefeller child through Harvard, Princeton, any Ivy League school.
Since we cutting each other off, I'm gonna cut you off because I don't agree with that logic. Simply because even though a Rockefeller child is rich, and I understand where you're going from, they still paying that money. They're still paying that money. Whereas we
can't pay it. That's my point.
Whereas the black kid from Booker T Projects in Jersey City, New Jersey, who is going to Seton Hall University, which is 20 minutes away in East Orange, he ain't paying for that. He ain't paying for that.
No, he can't afford it.
He can't afford it. So I don't understand how there's any correlation between the rich kid.
I'm gonna explain the correlation.
Go for it.
The Rockefeller child does not have to worry about the overhead of going to school. He does not have to worry about tuition. He does not have to worry about books. He don't have to worry about eating. He doesn't have to worry about that. But the black athlete who's just coming there on scholarship just to go to class, and honestly, Ruben, to your point, what kind of classes is he taking?
What kind of class he going to? Because we know he only there, like Ruben said, to be seen.
No, he's only there to be looked at, to be seen by the pro scouts. So he's not sitting there taking English lit. He's not sitting there taking, 402 psychology or whatever like that. He's there to play ball, and the university knows that he's there to play ball. And the university, like Chris Rock said, pimps him out to play ball, to put them in a tournament, to get revenue. So why can't he get a piece of the pie? Somebody please explain me. All because you tell me he's getting an education when really he ain't caring no two kumquats about the education.
It's called a job. It's called a job. Let's just be. We're gonna put it up there and ditch a servant. That's just stupid. Slavery is even worse, but it's a job. is basically, hey, your job is to go to school, play basketball, and that's it. And make sure you're in good shape. That is your job.
It's a front.
Hold on. That is your job.
When you
regardless
say-
of the fact that is still your job. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what revenue you bring in
I'm gonna argue my point.
because you're getting paid for doing this. You're getting paid for going to school. You're getting paid to play basketball. You're getting paid to
When you
win.
went to college,
It is
did
a
you get
job. Did I get paid?
Right.
No, but the school didn't pay me.
No.
They're two completely different
School
things.
made money off of you because you paid your tuition, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And the school makes money
So
off
you're
of
saying-
them.
so you're saying-
when you work at your 9 to 5, that is your job.
Right.
They make money off you, right?
True.
But they give you money.
True.
It's the same thing, except the fact is they don't get a check.
It's not equitable.
It's not equitable.
Because you're making.
Do you know how much? Do you know how much an athlete costs?
I would say if you had to ask
Do you
me-
know how much
Now,
athletes cost?
JR,
Because I know.
If you ask me on an NCAA level, I would say the student athlete probably brings in at least $6 figures.
I didn't say that.
At
Do
least-
you know how much it costs?
No.
Do you know how much it costs per person?
No, I got
I mean, and that's your problem. You're too busy running. You don't know the facts.
To his point though, I mean, if you want to say get a player's money, I mean, let that be your argument. But at the same time, to me, you can't put a price on exposure. You can't put you can't put a price on the exposure that you get as a player, particularly when these players are going to these schools such as UNC or Michigan or
But
one of these top-rated schools that you getting.
But what about the kids who are going to Northwestern,
All right.
which is almost $100,000 school a year? So
your
Northwestern
point-
is basically an Ivy League school. You go there to
To
play
your
basketball.
point, though, I would put that it should be their responsibility to say, you know, I'm in college, I'm going to this school. Maybe I should get an education.
And that's not a us problem.
Here's where you lose
That's
me.
a them problem.
Here's where you lose me. You lose me when you've got particularly the larger schools, like you mentioned, JR, the UNCs, your Dukes, your Louisvilles, and your Kentuckys, your big ticket universities. And no, Ruben, I don't know what it costs to produce a player.
I mean, I can tell you.
I'm sure you will. I don't know what the number is, and you can tell me, fine. But when you look at the basketball teams or the football teams, we know about the millions and millions and millions of dollars of revenue that they bring into the schools. And the fact that these players are just, run through the system and not given the kind of compensation, which in my opinion is commensurate with what they're doing. Okay, they get an education. I understand that, but as far as saying, oh, you get to eat and you get your books, no, I'm not giving you that. I'm not going to let you get that. You know why? Because that's mutually beneficial. You need to have this team play a road game. So, yeah, you need to get them there. So don't tell me that that's a benefit of mine as the player. I'm not going to let you do that. But when you have a team or a player who is the best player on the team, and we know that he generates millions of dollars. They would sell his jersey with his name on it if it was okay in the NCAA. But that same player, he can't sell his jersey with his name on it because he'll get suspended and he won't be able to play anymore. That's a problem. And that's where you get the indentured servant type of analogy, simply because, yeah, you're getting something. You're getting something. Nobody's saying that you're not getting something. But what you getting versus what you're producing, in a lot of cases, particularly with the larger schools, it is not even. It's not even Steven.
I think the problem is you're blaming the wrong people. You should not be blaming the colleges. You should be blaming the NCAA.
And how many times did I just say NCAA
Well,
when I
listen
was
to me.
speaking?
Well, listen to
I
me.
said that.
I mean, I heard you.
Well, you just said you trying to tell me who I should blame. I just told you what I said.
But here's the thing, man. You're not going to sit here and tell me that these poor kids go to school and they don't have no money for nothing, and they can't go out and buy their Jordans, and they can't go out and do that. You're not going to do that. You're not gonna do that.
I don't think that has nothing to do with.
But that's what he's saying. That's what Chris Rock is saying.
No,
but basically,
that's not.
But it's a job. Last time I checked, it's a job.
Yeah, just but what you're suggesting is.
What am I suggesting?
You're suggesting by making that statement right there, you got the rich kid and the poor kid, and the two of them are not equals on the team.
No, that's not what I said.
Well, you said if the kids got Jordans, then what's the problem? That's kind of what you alluded to.
But once again, did you know the shoes that they have on their feet? Some of them are Jordans. You know, those $200 pair of shoes.
That's because Nike endorses the school.
Hold on. $200 pair of shoes that they switch out every game. They get a new pair of shoes every game.
But whose fault is that?
But you can't sit here
putting that on the kids. That ain't got nothing to do with the kids.
Exactly. But you're sitting here and blaming the universities for quote unquote making all this money on them. You even blame the NCAA for making all this money on them. Somebody's got to pay for all that. Somebody's got to pay.
True, but why can't the player be allowed to sell his own jersey or get an endorsement from Adidas if he wanted to?
In your job, can you become an independent contractor?
You know what though?
I
think it's disingenuous to sit here and try to say that these college students are the same as someone that's going to work every day. It's not the same.
Why do you think it's not the same?
Because
you're insane this.
It's not the same because if you played in the National Basketball Association, that's your job, right? And you're gonna make $1 million to do the same thing that you used to do for free 4 years ago. So how is it your job? It's not your job, Ruben.
It's their job to get up in the morning and go to practice.
Come on, man.
It's their job to keep their GPA up. It's their job to make sure they sit there and they play a game. I mean, you said
every student's job to get a good GPA.
I mean, every single
but the difference between them and us, we got to pay to get our GPA, and they get paid to get their GPA.
Scholarship.
You're right, and you know you had to keep my GPA. And what else you had to do to keep your scholarship?
I was in the band,
and you had to play well.
Not really,
but that's VSU. That's completely different situation. But I'm saying you're an athlete just like them.
Yes.
So basically, your scholarship will say, okay, you need to go to school every day. You need to keep your grades up. You need to perfect this band thing. You need to do it. You got to go to practice every day. That's your job.
Okay, but
and the side effect of you having that job is that's part of your school that you don't have to pay for. And you're not going to sit here and tell me
I am going to sit here and tell you
these people are indigent service.
I'm going to sit here and tell you why. Because when you have a singular talent that every single person in the world doesn't have, then you deserve to be treated differently. This is the reason why Derek Jeter hasn't paid for dinner in New York City in 20 years. That's why. That's the reason why you got players in the NCAA, right, that you say are going to work are not going to work. They're not getting the same benefits that someone who's doing the same thing and being paid millions of dollars is doing.
So, Banks, were you an indigent servant when you were on the band team?
Well, first of all, I enjoyed being in the band. So,
but would you consider yourself an indigent servant?
Yes, I owed them for getting my scholarship.
Grizzly,
if there was a market for marching band professionals, if there was a marching band league, he wouldn't be going to marching band college other than to get to the marching band league. But the point is, and Marcus J touched on a little bit, is you're a college athlete, a college basketball player or football player is not going to college for an education. Can you agree with me on that?
That's a them problem.
Well, how do you
but that's a them problem. When does personal responsibility come into play? When does personal responsibility get into play?
Personal responsibility is nothing. They got talent.
When does personal responsibility come into play?
But you know, some of these guys know they ain't going to no NBA.
Exactly.
They ain't even going to the Euro leagues.
That's most of them. Only 7%. Only 7%
in there. He got an education at the same time. He earned a way outside of the NFL, NBA, MLB. What's the soccer joint? MLS. He earned a way out of that. Okay, so he owes the school for that. Otherwise, he would not have gotten it. This is an opportunity where schools go into these inner cities, they go all over the place, and they find kids and bring them out. They're actually helping black people. So to call them slaves and stuff, no.
But you just called them indentured servants, which is just as bad.
Do you know what an indentured servant is?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's called having a job.
I think it's strong language.
I think it's strong calling somebody indentured servant.
It's to his point.
Who's paid to do something before they even get over here. That's what.
Before they get there, before you get to school, you get paid to come to school.
Their education got paid for before they got there.
Is that an indentured servant or is that a job?
Ruben, you're a purist, and I understand your.
It's not being a purist. It's a realist. You're sitting here and you're saying, "Well, these kids don't get paid for nothing." I'm sorry. You want to look at my student loan bills? I don't have to pay. They didn't have to pay that.
I had student loans, and I'm not mad at the athlete.
And I'm not mad either. But for you to sit here and say that, oh, woe is them, they're not getting paid, they're not doing anything, and all the NCAA is basically saying, oh, we're going to just take your ability to take money. That's a bunch of crap.
Well, Marcus J said it best. If you're playing college basketball and you're on a high echelon of a college basketball player or college football player, and you see pro athletes making millions while you're sitting there in the college ranks, whether it's D1, D2, or whatever, and you're not getting paid, you're going to feel some kind of way about that.
That's the reason why kids was going to college and coming out.
Coming out,
and
hold on, let's pose a good question.
And you know what that's called? That's called small minds.
No. Let's pose a good question to you.
That's called.
Let's pose a good question to you.
You're not thinking of your future. What if you go out there? That's right. You go to Kentucky. You come out here. Oh, you break your leg. Your first 3 years in the NBA. The first 3 years in the NBA is not even guaranteed.
But that's where you go into it.
So basically, if you don't get college education, you're screwed.
If I'm a 12, 13, 14-year-old playing AAU ball now and getting groomed for the NBA, do you think that I'm sitting there and somebody saying, go to college for the education? You're going to college for the exposure.
Are we talking about AAU or are we talking about college? Because AAU is straight slavery. Because those coaches get paid to put kids out there.
Hold on, I could tell you a personal story. I'll tell you a personal story of someone I know. You don't think an AAU coach is hitting off a parent as far as making sure that kid's travels is covered? Yep. You don't think that the AAU coaches make sure the AAU coach or the AAU itself is making sure that kid's food is paid for
because they get paid on the back end.
At the end of the day, though, with respect to college sports, and no matter what sport you play, some colleges are known for football, some are known for basketball or whatever. But when you start saying you have to pay a college player a stipend of any kind, then you have to go down the line and say, well, how much is this sport worth? How much is this sport worth?
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, they just not giving up that much money, so it's not going to happen.
While I agree with that, and I think you're 100% right, JR, when you make that assessment, it doesn't change the fact, in my opinion, the amount of money that these kids generate for the universities as well as for the NCAA. It's a very large gap there. Do I have the answer? No, I ain't got the answer. I ain't got the right answer. I don't know how you fix it. You know, do I think the language that Chris used was strong? Yeah, I do. But I understand the spirit of what he was trying to say. And that's the whole point that I wanted to bring up. I want to move on from it because I think that we understand where everybody's coming from. We can agree to disagree without being disagreeable and having heart attacks. Ain't no ass Steppin with Marcus J. Live from the den, y'all. Legacy internetradio.com as well as on MixLR. This next one is bound to elicit some sort of let's just say emotion, somewhat similar to the last one. Chris Clemens of the Seattle Supersonics says that it would be selfish for an NFL player to come out as gay.
Supersonics?
Seahawks. I meant to say Seahawks. I'm sorry. They're Seahawks. I'm sorry. There's never been an openly gay player, of course, in the NFL. And Seattle Seahawks defensive end Chris Clemens thinks that it might be best to stay that way. He put out a bunch of tweets last week, and one of them, who on God's earth is this person saying he's coming out of the closet in the NFL? Based on interviews over the past several weeks with current and former players, I'm told the current gay NFL player is strongly considering coming out publicly within the next few months. And after doing so, the player would attempt to continue his career. This is coming from CBS Sports. That was a quote from Mike Freeman. And of course, the player involved here, this Clemens fella in Seattle, says that it would be selfish for this player to come out. And he goes on to say, I'm not against anyone, but I think it's a selfish act. They're just trying to make themselves bigger than the team. No one said anything about being homophobic. I just think it's something that should be left at home. Grizz.
Yeah, well, he is homophobic.
I'm going to get at you first, bro.
He is homophobic. And first thing you got to understand is the culture's changing. What you can argue all day long about how the culture's changed and how the gays have taken an integral part in the society, whether it's TV, music, entertainment, sports, anything of that nature. You can't fight the tide, so to speak. Meaning, like, eventually, and I use civil rights because gay folks like to use civil rights a lot. You know, civil rights eventually had to come to fruition through the Civil Rights Act of 64, 65, somewhere around that era, and where the country just had to have take a turn. You don't have to be for something in an essence, because and honestly, I'll say a quick story, because we were inundated with this all last week on the news and on sports channels, and my wife caught me watching one of the sports shows, and they had the fullback for Baltimore. He was outside the Supreme Court arguing for gay rights, and she was just like, she's not with it. And I was like, I'm not with it neither, but how can I, as an American, forget being oppressed as a black person, or just the history of being oppressed, how can I say something for someone else cannot be allowed? And so on that basis is how I would argue for that.
I would just add, as far as it being selfish, I don't believe it's selfish. Anytime you got a group of people with a common bond and they have something that they stand for and that they believe in, then somebody has to be the first person to take that stand. Now as far as whether he's being selfish about it or not, I mean, we don't know that person's motivation.
Why does it matter? I mean, and I say that with the nicest, I guess I can put it. Why does it matter? And I understand what he is saying, what Chris Clement is saying, and part of it is correct, because pretty much, regardless if you're gay or if you like to eat worms or whatever thing you do, if you put it out on blast like that, you are bringing a lot of attention to yourself. And in a team sport, there's enough attention to go around. A lot of it goes on the quarterback, unless you're a quarterback. But I mean, I'm not saying that he's right in saying he's selfish. I'm saying that I don't understand the reason why you would come out. I mean, you want to come out, marry your lover. Guess what? This is my life. I can do what I want. Okay. Do you need to have a press conference for it? Hell no. I mean, that's bringing attention to you unnecessarily. And you wanted your life to be private. That don't happen anymore. You just, if you want to come out, tell your friends. Don't tell the press. For what? Yeah, you tell the press, you're bringing attention to yourself, and that could be labeled as selfish.
So it's okay for a gay person to come out in every aspect, but sports?
No, I'm saying in anything. In anything, if you bring if you bring attention to yourself, I mean, whether it's necessary or not, when you say stupid stuff, you bring attention to yourself. When you say good stuff, you bring attention to yourself. My thing is it going to change the price of tea in China? No.
But again, it's bringing awareness. It's bringing awareness. Everything's bringing awareness. I mean, if you look at today, and Jay said it best, times are changing. Just a couple of weeks ago, I saw my first gay commercial. And you want to know what the commercial was selling? Kindles. Have you seen that commercial yet?
No, but if that's your first gay commercial, you need to watch more TV.
Okay, well, I don't watch a lot of TV like that. But, I mean, honestly speaking, that was a commercial that the dude, Kendall, said, yeah, my husband is getting something too. So why can't the NFL find something like that? I mean, really? Is it TV actors do it? Your bosses may be gay, your coworkers, your cousins, your brother's sister's friend. I mean, what's wrong?
Can we just say what the real issue is? Most people have a religious idea. That's generally what it is. Most people have a religious idea, and the only thing I'm gonna say to that, without getting too heavy on that, is that just because you have a religious conflict with how something directs your daily life doesn't mean you force that on someone else's daily life. And you just have to let people do their own thing, because let's be honest, none of us are perfect at any time.
Right.
So I can't pick up and go after somebody for anything, and I let them speak because it's America and that's what we do.
I think Chris Clemens out his damn mind.
Say what you feel, Marcus J.
I think he out his damn mind.
It's your show.
I think he's out his damn mind because I don't see how that's not a homophobic statement. You got to let people be who they are. And while I respectfully understand where you're coming from, Big Rube, I disagree because, heterosexual people ain't got to walk around in a closet heterosexually. So why is it that gay people got to hide who they are? It's not about coming out and doing a press conference and saying, hey, I'm gay, look at me. It ain't about that. We live in a world and in a culture where these people have been forced, because of how they're viewed upon, to walk around not expressing outwardly who they are. If I wanted to walk through the mall with a pretty girl holding her hand with my tongue down her throat, nobody wouldn't say a damn thing. But if I wanted to walk in the same mall with my boyfriend, people would have a problem with it. And I think that it's high time that people in this country get over themselves. It ain't got a damn thing to do with what you got going on in your life. Get over what they do in their life and move on. Really, move on. A selfish act. You being a punk because you worried about it. Why you worried about what this man doing? Right. Seriously?
And I agree with that. My thing is like, why? Why is he even talking about it?
Why not?
I think that he talks about it brings more attention. I mean, if you want to come out, that's fine. But does it need to be on the front page of my sports news?
I think it's on the front news. I think it's on the front news of your sports page because there's so many people who walking around homophobic, fearful of the disease of homosexuality, and they going to catch some.
Correct, and I'm not one of those. That's why I guess
I caught a lot of heterosexuality.
My thought process is like I could care less, and that's why I'm just like I understand what he's saying. Now, may he say that because he knows that other people on his team are homophobic? And he doesn't want to see anything bad happen to him.
So who enlisted him as to be the spokesperson?
I'm just saying, look, man. Personally, I could care less. When it's all said and done, Big Rube could care less if you're gay, straight, purple, whatever. That does not bother me. My thing is why you?
You agree with don't ask, don't tell then?
I agree with. Do what you want to do.
Well, but see, the essence of don't ask, don't tell is kind of what this dude is saying. You can be gay, just don't tell me.
Nah. No, what it is a pride thing. See, in football, a lot of things deal with strength and conditioning. So if he's getting beat up by a gay man at his position, and that's his pride.
And that's their personal problem.
That's his pride.
That's a him problem.
That's what it's going to boil down to. He don't want to know that the man in front of him is gay and was whipping his ass the entire game for 60 minutes. That's what his problem is.
What's the problem with that, though? I don't get what the problem is.
I mean, no gay man is beat Grizzly.
I mean, we.
I think by him bringing attention to it is stupid. I'm not saying us bringing attention to it is stupid.
But see, here's the thing.
For him saying that, it makes him look bad.
But see, here's the thing. Stupid. This whole article is about how Clemens and people like him are fearful of someone coming out being gay. Notice there's no name attached to the gay guy.
They still haven't attached? Yeah, they still haven't.
There's no name attached to the gay guy, Chris.
Well, I mean, and this might ruffle Marcus J feathers a little bit, but to go to JR's point earlier, I mean, on a religious basis, though, there are a lot of people who are tied up into their religious beliefs that feel that the homosexual lifestyle is just an abomination. And in that respect, just like I can respect somebody, somebody might say I'm a waffler on this. And when I talked to my wife the other night about this, we had, a deep discussion about this. And she feels opposite of what I feel, although we have the same religious views. She's like, it's just not right in the eyes of God. You know what I'm saying? And I have to, I have to respect that because if you think back to the proposition that was back in California and the anti-gay movement pushed a whole bunch of money into the black communities because black churches really don't go for that. And you can't just dismiss somebody's core beliefs. You can't dismiss it, just like you can't dismiss the gay guy that wants to come out or the gay girl that wants to come out.
But if it's based in hypocrisy, like Mr. Pastor Man, you don't like me being gay in your church, then give me my tithes back.
Right, I agree.
How about that? Give him a little a piggyback off of that. Basic. He without sin cast the first stone. If you if you ain't got nothing on your plate, whether you're religious or not, if you ain't got nothing on your plate that you hiding from somebody, why be on the next man plate or next woman plate about what they doing?
I mean, and that's why I don't really. That's why I don't care.
You know,
Personally.
but this guy right here, to me, he just going for attention.
When that person, he or she, gets called to heaven, I ain't there on their judgment day. So I can't sit here on this earth and say, and I said earth, ladies and gentlemen, we say EARF here on
What?
Okay, but yeah, earth. You don't spell earth that way?
We on a different planet.
Yeah,
But
we
what I'm saying
understand.
is, on that judgment day, I can't judge that person to say what, just like what JR said. You know, it is what it is. Let people be who they are. Don't try to intervene, because you wouldn't want nobody to intervene in your business.
Ain't no half Steppin, Marcus J, live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio, y'all. We gonna leave that one there. We gonna take a break. We come back. We got some more What the Hell. It's just about the top of the hour. We gonna go about half hour over the night. Ain't no half Steppin, Marcus J. We appreciate everybody that's still with us. Hang in there. Coming back in just a few minutes.
We could do that.